Hey guys, thanks for joining my hike. I'm here in Central Park in New York City, and you might be asking yourself, can this be considered a hike? Well, I think it begs the question, what constitutes a hike? Being in the wilderness? Wearing a backpack? No cell phone reception? Well, bingo, got all those. We're here in New York City, it's a wild city. I'm wearing a backpack and there's no cell phone reception. So there you go. Grab a slice, watch your wallet, we're taking a hike. Hiking on this side of me today is a native New Yorker. He's a Harvard graduate. He's a very funny and creative stand-up comic. He was the head writer on Saturday Night Live, and currently he's one of the weekend update anchors. That's right, without further ado, today we're tearing up the park with the hilariously brilliant Colin Jost. You've lived in New York since 2005, right?
I grew up in New York.
Oh, you did?
Well, I grew up in Staten Island.
You know I've never been to Staten Island.
Why not? It's a ferry right away.
What's there
And the
for
ferry's
me?
free.
What's there for me?
Great Italian food.
Views of New York?
Staten Island Museum. you could look back in New York and be like, oh yeah, that's where I'm going to go back to. Yeah, it's great.
People say there's nothing to do in Staten Island. There's a lot to do. You can go to New Jersey, you go to New York City,
Yes.
you go up north to
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, there's northern New Jersey, I mean,
Yeah.
anywhere.
Would you consider this wandering, walking, or hiking?
I would consider this wandering. I think I arranged all this.
It's so nice of you to arrange that for me.
I don't know how kickbacks work, but I guess you can figure that out at the
We'll
end.
settle up later.
Yeah.
Last night, my friends invite me to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, should I go? I really want to focus on this hike with Colin tomorrow. I really want to put my effort
really
into that.
prep for it, yeah?
Yeah, prep for it. And I thought, well, I'm here. I've never been
Scout
to
out the
WrestleMania.
route, yeah.
I'll go, I get there. It is in the Meadowlands, in a huge arena, and it's like the Super Bowl crowd. It is packed. It's sold out.
82,000 people.
Yeah. And I know that because you and Michael Che are on the bill. You are like one of the opening matches.
Yeah.
What? I see that. I go, what is going on?
It happened because Che is a really diehard WWE fan, and I was all growing up. It was like a huge thing for my brother and I.
Yeah.
So Che had talked to, I think had just, had gone to a couple events before,
Yeah.
and they were like, you guys should come and do something, which they never do, which was a huge honor. It was really cool.
It was.
And it's weirdly like SNL. I mean, a lot slightly more physical, but it's weirdly, it's all live, so they all are super professional, and they just know how they're on the road. It's the biggest traveling show in the world. So they're on the road like 300 days a year.
So, did you guys wear some kind of costume?
I wore a Cleveland Browns Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, you wanted to be the
jersey.
You wanted
I was
to be
going
the heel.
full heel.
Yeah.
Full heel. And we had done something in Philly with wrestling, and I wore a Mets hat in Philly. Got booed pretty hard.
You like to get booed.
And then it was really fun, actually.
It was.
It's good when you're intentionally getting booed. That feels good.
That was a great
Unintentional boos, not as good.
No.
After a joke, not as fun.
No. What did Shay wear?
He wore like a high school wrestling headgear.
Which he always wears, right?
Which he always wears,
Yeah.
but he's overly protective.
Yeah.
And he wore leggings, like spandex leggings that had our faces on them and said Team SNL. And then he wore a WrestleMania 35 sweatshirt.
I don't know you that well, but I get the impression that you are very organized and very much in control.
That is I'm very glad you have that impression.
Is it true?
It's not. I'm extremely disorganized.
Really?
And messy, and I have some element of control, but I'm very scattered and easily distracted and a little all over the place.
Wow.
I try to not project anxiety,
But you are totally anxious.
but I have a lot of anxiety. Yes.
Yeah.
And
But working on a live show helps that, doesn't it?
well, it helps because it does help because you have no choice. You kind of have to be. I don't know. What about you? You also seem like you.
Here's the truth, Colin. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm pretty much dead inside right now. I've lost every
The hike's going that badly?
Yeah. I mean, why else would I be doing a hike? It's just to try to soothe the numbness. of everything.
The top apartment on that giant building there just sold for $230 million.
I know, I bought it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
It really feels like we're out in the wilderness, doesn't it?
Yeah, you really feel lost.
All right, here's a quiz for you.
Okay.
Which college is not in New York City? Columbia, NYU, or University of Florida?
I know this.
You want me to give you a clue?
Yeah,
University of...
New York.
No.
NYU.
Okay. The answer was University of Florida.
Okay, all right. I'll give it. Sometimes it's the format, it scares me, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
When you're
I
under
hear you.
that kind of pressure,
Yeah.
you know it, but you just, in that context,
Well, look.
your brain goes blank, you know?
It's part of the anxiety.
Yeah.
I've never been in this part of Central Park with the men that I love.
I've never either, I don't think. Yeah, it looks very strange. It's weird that it's so nice out, but everything's still dead.
I know. Let's go down here.
It's like a comedian, you know?
Now what we're
Everything
doing now...
seems so sunny.
Oh, yeah, I would never trust a comedian.
No.
What we're doing now is we're walking down to the boat pond.
Oh, right, and it's
We should
happening.
actually take a boat out. Colin, do you think you'd be a good waiter?
I don't know. What do you think I would be?
I think you would be impatient. Probably quit within 2 days. Do not be fooled by this question.
Okay.
It might be a trick one.
Okay.
Which movie or movies were not shot in Central Park?
Yeah.
Breakfast at Tiffany's,
Uh-huh.
Ghostbusters,
Uh-huh.
The Marathon Man,
Uh-huh.
Midnight in Paris,
Uh-huh.
Spider-Man 2,
Uh-huh.
The Sound of Music,
Uh-huh.
or The Great Escape.
Great. I think I've seen 3 of the movies that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess, without knowing what Marathon Man is, I'm gonna guess it's about the New York City Marathon. So probably that's just them going through
Yeah.
Central Park, right?
That would be a safe bet.
Is Prefontaine, right? Is Marathon Man?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say Great Escape.
Great Escape, and that's it?
That sounds vaguely World War II to me. Yeah, I'm gonna just say that. I'm locking it in. Final answer.
Okay. So it's just one movie. You think The Sound of Music was shot here?
I think there are elements. I think a lot of times they shoot parts of this for Germany.
Okay. Well, the truth is, it's The Sound of Music.
Uh-huh. You
Midnight
gotta
in Paris,
remember all the ones you just said
Midnight
again.
in Paris, and Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 was shot here. I don't think Spider-Man 2. I could be wrong.
Which was the one? Remember there was the Spider-Man that they shot it and then they had to go back and edit and do it again because the Twin Towers were prominent in the shot.
Wow,
that might have been the first Spider-Man.
That might have been.
And I always felt it suffered.
So tell me about Weekend Update. You've been doing it for a couple years now. I remember when you first started, we were talking about it and it was exciting, but you had been a writer there for a while. You didn't just come in and start doing Weekend Update.
Yeah, I'd been writer there for at least like 6 years or something before
So
that.
you knew what it was all about, and you probably even wrote jokes for Weekend Update.
I did.
'Cause you were the head writer for a long time too.
Yeah, it was actually kind of weirder, I think, starting trying to do Update having already been a writer there because, you know, your identity is already something different there. You
Yeah.
know, like you're not coming in cleanly. You're kind of, when I started, I was sort of worried about blowing both gigs.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't be good and then I get fired from Update and then I'd also get fired from writing and I'd be like, wait, what happened? Why did I try to do both?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that it's sometimes, still feel it's this way. It's sometimes the last thing you're thinking about, even though it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because you have all these other obligations and responsibilities. It's really strange.
I notice now they bring out the Weekend Update desk right before you go on, right? Right before
Yeah.
the cameras come back from commercial.
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing it back in the 1900s, I would be sitting out there for a while with the audience,
Really?
and it was kind of awkward. So I used to do this bit where I would look at somebody and sketch them in the audience on a piece
Yeah.
of paper, sketch them, and right before we came back from commercial, I'd show the bad picture, and everybody would laugh, and they'd come in happy. you know. You're going to meet the host today for
Yeah.
this week.
This is the pitch meeting on Monday.
I know the pitch meetings. You always give the right pitch?
I've almost never pitched an idea I was actually right.
Really?
That's accurate.
There's always fake pitches, right?
Yeah, because sometimes the fake ones are the ones that are the best.
Are you good with deadlines?
Yes, I'm bad at them because I'm late for them, but I need them desperately in order to do anything in my life. I'll miss it, but I will get it done shortly after. It's gotten worse over my life. I started, just getting in under the deadline, and then I'd be just after the deadline, and now I'm like a little bit after, but I need that urgency to do anything. You?
Me too, man. Me too. That's right. Are you forgetful?
What? Wait, were you just asking
Are
me?
you forgetful?
I don't know. I could like turkey or ham. Really, either way is fine by me.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room or in the park? What is it like being in a relationship with a full-fledged, verified movie star? I won't say who
I don't
it
know
is.
if this is a relationship. I mean, we're just going on a hike.
Well, I thought it was a little more than that.
Well,
You guys are still together, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's great.
It's like any relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, everything has its own whatever rhythms you have to figure out, but
Yeah.
it's oddly, I would say oddly normal for
Right.
how abnormal it could be or seem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's
Do you mind
great.
ever being in the shadow if that happens?
No.
You prefer that?
No, I don't. I think it's like nice to both have your moments. I
Yeah.
think I grew up in a family where there were times where my mom was the breadwinner. There were times where my dad was the breadwinner. So it never seemed unusual to me that people would both have their own independent lives and jobs and joys or whatever, and you would be supportive of one another because otherwise, I don't know. It just seems like both people are happier that way.
Right.
And I'm sure everyone has times in their life where they're working more or working less, and it's
I see what you're saying.
all right. That never bothers me now.
Watch out. Watch it.
Like a lot of hazards here. They don't tell you that in Central
don't.
Park.
So you do stand-up now. I mean, you've done stand-up for a long time.
Yeah.
When you're watching another stand-up comic, can you enjoy that person, or are you analyzing and trying to guess where they're going?
I'm definitely analyzing it a little bit. I mean, it's the same reason I almost never watch comedy on TV. Because,
Me too.
Yeah, you see all the thing. You're like, oh, I would have thought of another joke there. Or
Yeah.
That's not, whatever. That doesn't seem like my best.
Or why can't I be that funny?
Oh, yes, that's the other part of it. Yeah, you're like, damn it.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Your mom was a fireman.
My mom, well, my mom's entire family was in the fire department. Her dad, her dad's dad, her brother. My mom was the chief medical officer for the fire department. So she ran the whole health side of the
Oh, okay. So she
department.
wasn't
So
putting
she-
fires out.
No, she did not. She would have to go to fires to treat people on the scene when there was a big, like a 5-alarm fire or something, but she was not running into fires. No.
Based in Staten Island?
Yeah, she still lives in Staten Island. My parents live in Staten Island. Are we getting hit by baseball? Okay, great.
Was she around during 9/11?
She
Working?
was at the she was at the base of the,
She was?
yeah, she was at the
Oh my
base of the first tower when it collapsed. She
Oh,
was
no.
pushed by a firefighter she had just cleared to be back on duty, pushed into an alcove of a building, buried, got dug out, went back in to help people, the second tower fell, got buried again.
Oh my gosh.
Then got out and stayed, didn't go home for 3 days and was setting up triage centers and
my
Dwayne Reed down there and treating people who were coming in, and it was nuts. It was an insane.
She's a hero.
She totally is. Yeah, she's a very modest person who would never say that, but she really is.
Talk about being in the shadow. Your dad.
I know.
Your
I know.
mom.
Think
It's
about
a big
my
hero
poor
over here.
dad
Hey,
feels
here's the
about
hero.
this. Yeah,
Hey, there's your
exactly.
father.
And hey, hi,
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Jost.
You have a laugh that reminds me of somebody, but I can't think of who it is.
Like a comic you knew or something?
No, I don't know who it is. It might be Alec Baldwin.
Pol Pot?
Pol Pot. Yeah. What's the latest you've ever stayed at SNL? You spent the night?
Oh my God! For the first probably 10 years I was at the show, I slept at work at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week.
Did you have a bed in there?
No, just a couch, or I'd sleep on the floor. I could sleep anywhere.
Oh, you're one of those
guys.
guys.
On the floor and wake up and then write something, but I like lived there. It was like a dorm basically for years, and it was so fun. I mean, I'm not a napper. I mean, I just would sleep. I'd sleep for an hour or 2 in the middle of the night, you know, and then keep going. At some point, I had to go see a doctor because I was basically having heart palpitations because I would stay up all night at
drinking
SNL,
coffee and stuff.
Drinking coffee, and then there was a moment in the night where they would just put out a sea of candy on the writers' table.
Yeah.
Just to sustain us.
Yes.
And so I would just eat candy. That was all I would eat in the middle of the night. That was pointed out to maybe not be a great thing by a doctor.
We're just in time for Mass. What merch do you have more of, Harvard or SNL?
I don't think I own a single piece of Harvard merchandising.
Really?
Going to Harvard was great for the Lampoon, which was comedy there.
Yeah.
Like Conan was there,
Yep.
had been there. And but for everything else, as a comic, you never wanted to be introduced as, this next guy went to Harvard, so really get those hands together for this guy.
I remember when I was on SNL, we had a couple of Harvard writers. Some of the writers had a reputation of being too analytical.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Let's cut over this to Sixth Avenue?
Let's cut over by climbing this wall. Okay, good.
Yeah. They were very analytical and specific.
Well, I'm sure like people are. I'm sure that I've seen that in a lot of people. I mean, like Conan's not that though. I mean, Conan is analytical, but he's also.
Well, I taught him how to be funny.
Also, I do think a lot of writers that I've met who went to Harvard were probably going to be lawyers or something, but then they thought, oh, maybe being a comedy writer is more fun, or I could be with my friends and do it, you know. So they might have had pretty analytical minds beforehand, and just sort of adapted them to comedy, you know.
Yeah.
But
have you ever gone on stage hammered?
I've probably been reasonably drunk and gotten on stage. Nowadays, I would never do it because I would be terrified of like someone taking a video of it and me being humiliated by something. I mean, I live in almost constant fear now.
Me too. You worry a lot about what people say about you, don't you?
I constant fear. It's awful.
Who hosted that you thought, oh my God, I can't believe they're hosting?
LeBron James was a great one. Jim Carrey for me was very exciting.
I watched the cold opening on the show last week with Kit Harington. I love that monologue.
Oh, thank you very much.
You wrote it?
I did. I wrote it.
Man, I loved it.
It was one of my favorite monologues that I've ever written.
That? Do you go to the after parties at SNL?
Usually, yeah.
You have fun?
I do. It takes me about an hour or 2 to really decompress.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, we're walking here. Sorry.
When I started, I would go to every single after party. I would go to every single after party, and then there'd be a third party at someone's apartment after. And it was, I felt like I was going to live forever. And now, you know, I'll usually go to the first party, have a couple drinks, decompress, talk to Jay, try to be alive on Sunday for human relationships. Is this now not officially a hike anymore?
Thanks, Colin Jost. You know, believe it or not, this was the first Hiking with Kevin episode in Central Park. And I did it with Colin Jost. And I'll always remember Sweet Colin for that. You know, it's funny, I saw more of Central Park today than I did in all the 9 years that I lived here. I saw places I've never seen before. It's beautiful. And you guys are beautiful too for tagging along. Appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, and we'll catch you next time. Happy trails.